A month or so ago, I salvaged a lot of hardwoods out of a mattress and headboard that was leaning up against a dumpster. And the wood that's on my miter saw is what's left of the mattress, and this panel right here is what's left of the headboard. It connected both the left and right post. And I've already ran this through the thickness planer to remove all of the finish that was already applied to it, and what I'm left with is a very nice, clear, glued up panel. Now, I'm not exactly sure what wood this is, but according to my fingernails, it feels a little bit more dense than poplar. So I'm not exactly sure what it is, but I don't care. I'm going to use this for this project. If you don't have a junk headboard laying around, that's perfectly okay. This whole project can be made out of 48 inches of 1x8. I've milled all of my pieces to a little bit bigger than what they're finally going to be. The bottom panel is going to be solid but floating in place, and I've got 2 long rails and 2 short rails or sides to the box. The top panel is going to slide in from one side, and where it does slide in, I need to trim that side piece down to the appropriate height. And when it is slid in, I still want to make the perimeter go all the way around, so I'm going to mill a matching top cap, I guess you could say, to go on this side, and it'll make it look all nice and neat once it's closed. Now, before I cut any of the miters, I'm going to go ahead and make all of the dados, and they're going to be 3/8 of an inch wide, 3/8 of an inch deep, and they're going to start 3/8 of an inch in from the top and bottom of all 4 of my sides. With the side pieces mitered to their final length, I can measure the interior of the dados and get the final length and width of my top panels. Now, once I cut those to size, I need to cut a rabbet along the entire perimeter of both panels. I cut my rabbet on the panels a little bit oversized, so I got a nice shadow line all the way around. Now, before I glue this up, I need to trim down one of these side pieces, and that's why I cut an extra when I was cutting all my pieces. If this is the top piece, then what I need to do is cut from the bottom of this rabbet all the way down and remove that material, and the remaining 3/4 of an inch I'll glue onto the top panel, and it will slide back and forth. Now, for the bottom piece, I can't just simply use my cutoff here because I'm removing 1/8 of an inch of material. So I'm going to be doing the exact same thing with this second piece, but instead of cutting below this rabbet, I'm actually going to cut on this rabbet line, but on the inside, this dado, on the inside of this dado, and the remaining piece is what I'll actually glue into place. Now, this will accept the bottom panel and will allow some room on the top for the top panel to slide out. Before gluing all the sides together, I've taped the inside corners, and that way once it's together, any glue squeeze out can be easily peeled off from the tape. Now I've got them all sitting up against a straight edge, and now I can flip them upside down so that the tops of the miters are touching, and I can tape them together real quick. Because this panel is slightly undersized, when the top piece is slid in, the rabbet is not going to bottom out inside this dado. So I want this to stop where it's centered on the box. So I'm going to line up all four of these corners with the miters using the bottom of the box as reference. And that tells me that this panel is perfectly centered in the box. What's actually going to stop it as it slides in is these miters are going to bottom out with the opposing miter on both sides. So now I can just set this in place so that the miters line up. I've got some glue in here, and I can add some weight and just let it sit. I let the glue sit for about an hour to really give the glue some time to cure, and I'm very pleased at the way that the miters turned out. The bottom panel's got a little bit more play in it than what I wanted, but that's going to be okay. And the top panel, or the door, or the lid, or whatever you want to call it, slides in pretty effortlessly, and it centers itself, so I am very pleased with it. These miters are an end-grain to end-grain glue connection, which isn't that strong. So I'm going to use my spline jig to add 3 splines at every corner. Can't put the splines just anywhere because I have a dado on the bottom and the top side of all my sides. So I'm going to use this scrap piece to tell me that having one right here will be okay. That's going to be above the bottom dado. And then if I flip it around over here, I can say that having one right here will be okay because that'll be below the top dado. And these two will be, I don't know, a short distance in. And then right in the middle somewhere, I want to make a longer spline, and that'll give it a little bit of a unique look on all 4 corners. I think contrasting colors look great for these splines, so I'm going to use the darkest green poplar that I have. But first I need to mill this to the exact width of my table saw blade and cut a bunch of triangles to glue into here. While the splines are drying, I can work on the top playing surface. Now, typically Chinese checkers is played with marbles and anywhere from 2 to 6 players. But because it's just me and my wife, I designed this for 2 people. And instead of using marbles, because I know marbles are hard to find and you only need 10 and they have to be 2 colors, so what I found instead is some painted golf tees. And these were pretty inexpensive, and there's way more than what I'm going to need. But the only thing is they're way too long. So I've got a 3/4 inch thick piece of scrap wood. I've drilled some 1/4 inch holes, which is the size that I think is going to work really well for these. And with that size hole, I like the elevation above the surface, so wherever they come out, I'm just going to cut them off real quick, and I'm left with some shorter playing pieces that I think will work really well. With all the holes cut in the top piece, curiosity struck me about these golf tees and whether or not I need to cut them down. I don't play golf and I don't know if they make different lengths, but these are 2 3/4 of an inch and they do not bottom out, so that'll save me a step as far as cutting them down. I think this turned out really cool. I really like the splines. I like using the golf tees. The whole project is just, it's been a whole lot of fun to make. The primary source of wood for this was the headboard, and the splines were from a mattress. So other than the golf tees, this is 100% recycling. And of course it slides open and you can put the tees in to store them underneath the lid. If you'd like a free set of plans for this, I have them available on my website. If this is your first time here, go ahead and subscribe. I post a new woodworking video pretty much once a week, and whenever possible, projects like this, I have free plans available on my website. If you're into the social media thing, check out my Facebook page where I post a lot of current and future project updates throughout the week. Thanks for watching, folks, and have a great day.